Hello and welcome to another edition of Toys from the Attic. For today's episode, we'll be taking a look back at a cap-snapping blast from the past in the form of Ed 209. So with only 10 seconds to comply, let's take a closer look at this bad boy. Okay, here we go. As many of you know, Ed 209 is the overgunned, overpowered, uncompromising robot from the late 80s movie RoboCop. Like most popular movies in the 80s and 90s, an action figure line was soon to follow, and RoboCop was no exception. Interesting little backstory for this particular figure. I did not receive him as a birthday gift or a Christmas gift, but rather a gift from the Tooth Fairy for losing my very first tooth. Imagine my surprise when I woke up in the morning and found this big box having Ed 209 in it underneath my pillow. However, I could swear to God that when I had this toy as a figure, the box art said Ed 260 instead of Ed 209. Many people have corrected me on this at toy conventions, but I'm not sure, and I can swear that I've seen the box art on eBay say Ed 260 rather than Ed 209. I'm not exactly sure what this means, but it might have had something to do with the cartoon series that came out also in the late 80s, where they had very different versions of Ed 209. With RoboCop constantly destroying him almost every other episode, he was naturally rebuilt with a new number and new model name. So go figure. Growing up, I can honestly say that this was one of my most favorite action figures to have. His articulation is pretty simple. You only have a waist swivel joint right here that actually clicks all the time, plus little clicking leg motions back and forth. So he's not very posable, but then that's okay. The main look of him, and if you knew the character, that was what was cool. Another little gimmick feature on him was this little back part that opened up to reveal a section where you can put caps. You'd slide little caps in through here, and every action would push the caps up along, and you would snap any caps in there. Now, as you can see, mine is awfully corroded in here, or if you can see through the camera, from years of, just erosion and other stuff. Apparently the sulfur from the caps aren't very good for longevities of toys. I would have some more caps in here to fire off, but I don't want to take the chance of breaking him, and I've kind of found it hard to find caps nowadays. The sculpt on him is actually very well detailed for a late 80s toy. I mean, most toys today have really sculpted detail, but considering what we had back then, this is actually pretty good. RoboCop, along with many of the other human characters in this particular toy line, were about 5 to 6 inches in scale, which meant that Ed 209 came eye to eye with them and was kind of grossly under scale. This was actually a big disappointment to me growing up, because the coolest thing about this guy was how big and menacing he was. Well, thankfully, I never really played with him how he was intended in the show or in the movies, with him fighting RoboCop all the time. I actually really enjoyed playing with him with the G.I. Joes, which you can see the G.I. Joe's 3-inch scale right here. As you can see, in comparison, he definitely portrays that big menacing size from the movie. From what I can tell, Ed 209 is a pretty hard character to find. I guess no one's willing to give him up or sell him. However, if you do run across him and you have the extra money, snag him up. I say he's definitely worth the buy. Once again, thank you for watching. If you liked what you've seen today, please feel free to subscribe or leave a comment in the comments section. Any suggestions for future episodes will be greatly appreciated. Who knows, something you suggest may appear on the episode in the future. So long!